Hello everyone, welcome to our Monday Day Early Comics Review video. I'm Jason,
I'm Andy.
and we're with Infinity Flux Comics out of Chattanooga, Tennessee, where every Monday we go over all the comics that have arrived at our shop. We read them and we tell you in a spoiler light way the major reasons you might want to collect these comics, but more importantly, what they're about. In case you're looking for good comics to read, we try to tell you what they're about without spoiling all the fun.
Mm-hmm.
So, in comics in general, this is a pretty medium week, but for our store currently in this video, it is a light week. So, as you might have noticed, we have comics in front of us. These are all DC. All right, there are three different distributors now, and DC all comes from one distributor, and that stuff arrives at our store early. Unfortunately, all the other stuff got delayed.
Mm-hmm.
So the Marvel, the Indie, it all got delayed, and I'm just going to throw down the gauntlet and blame UPS. UPS did it. So they arrive every single Monday. Literally, we unpack everything and get it all ready. DC comes FedEx. FedEx made it. We have a sign we put out in front of our store that says UPS, we are here. We have people here at 9 a.m. Well, it must have been a new driver or something. He drove by at 11 a.m., didn't stop, said our comics weren't there. You know, it went from being delivered to we made a delivery attempt. The business was closed. So before we start, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give everyone a little helpful hint if you want to get UPS on the phone. Because I'll tell you, if you try, it's nearly impossible. You get sent to like a robocall.
Yeah.
Sort of, you get sent to the hell of robocall. So no matter what you say, you can say operator, representative. They will not take you to someone. Like it'll eventually hang up on you. You have to say, here's the trick. You have to say, returning a call. So if you say those magic words, it doesn't know what to do. It'll actually take you to a live person. So I apologize we don't have our Marvel and our indie review stuff. We are going to talk about those books. You know, we are going to bring up all the ones this week. But I thought I'd start with a nice little tip because I probably won't be the only one in the position of needing to contact UPS in my life. So, okay, well, that aside, let's start with the books that we do have. Then we'll get to all the other ones that are releasing this week that we just want to talk about as much as we can.
Starting with this one that I was pretty excited for. This is Superman Space Age. So why am I excited about this? It's Mike Allred drawing Superman. Mike Allred doing anything that's kind of a period piece, bright, especially the word Space Age on there, that just screams Mike Allred. Of course, you probably know him. I don't know if you know him from Madman. I don't know how many people now. It's been a while since a Madman was published.
They had Madman as the official person for Free Comic Book Day, like 2-3 years ago. So that sort of brought Madman a little bit back into the light.
You have him from Ecstatics, just incredible stuff. So he is illustrating this. Mark Russell is writing it. And this is a mixture of kind of the DC fantasy and real-world events. Starting in the book takes place in 1985, but there's flashbacks back into the 60s and all of that. As it begins, Superman is getting Lois and Jonathan into shelter as meteorites rain down upon the Fortress of Solitude. And so it's kind of one of those jumps, throws you right in there and you go, oh no, what's going on? Well, we get flashbacks all the way back to when Clark Kent was a very strapping teenager who almost just looks like just the most buff man, but he's like a teenager, with Paul Kent working on the farm, and we get more flashbacks of Paul Kent telling a story. We have flashbacks within flashbacks back into the war. So we are kind of seeing this idea of a hero is someone who is pretty much ready to do the job when it is called on them, type thing. That's kind of I think they say it really well in the back. It is, heroism is simply the act of being where you are needed most. And I feel like that's a lot of what this is. All the stories that Paul Kent tells him up through, we see Clark leave home and go off, and he's still not comfortable being Superman. He sees the suit there, but he doesn't feel worthy of putting it on yet. We see the rise of Lex Luthor, but all while that's going on, we have the Kennedy assassination. And how does Superman deal with that? So it's an interesting kind of seeing how superheroes relate to real world events. Uh, this goes all the way up through the founding, I wouldn't say the founding of the Justice League, but more characters emerging, how Superman deals with that. It's a very interesting take. It is a very oversized book. You know, it's got a spine that has enough space to say the title on it. So it's a pretty thick read. I believe it's either 2 or 3 issues series. Can't remember, but it is a $9.99 book. So I mean, this is a pretty substantial read. But Mike Allred's art is fantastic throughout, even in some of the darker moments, kind of the hopeless moments in this. It brings kind of hope and excitement and kind of that pop energy that all of his work has. So very interesting read. If you're looking for something a little bit different this week, kind of an not in continuity story, I would definitely check out Superman Space Age as a very cool, interesting read for the week. We also have this great variant by Steve Rude, which you see a little bit. That's kind of the representation of how he sees the suit and how he feels about it and how he's not quite prepared. He doesn't feel like he's worthy of putting it on yet.
All right, it is here finally, sort of in the tail end of the new Batman team. There's a new Detective Comics team. So this is Detective Comics 1062 with new creative team Ram V and Raphael Albuquerque doing the writing and the art. A lot has been said about this cover. It's been in the news a lot because of sort of the gothic operatic, I guess gothic wouldn't be much for Gotham, but the operatic look of this.
Yeah.
And it does indeed start at an opera house as well. So, but more on that. I do want to say this has the first appearance of a character. His name is Arzen, Arzen, and he is the Prince of Orgum, a foreign land. And in this, him and the matriarch of his family, she decides that he needs to go over to Gotham to try to save it. But you get the sense when they say save it, they might mean take it over.
Mm.
You'll have to read it for yourself to make that determination. How good or how bad is this new character? But this seems like the new major player in this arc. So back to the Opera House. Ram V is writing this in a very poetic way. In fact, there is actually some light poetry to this that Batman reads. And before that, it starts at the Opera House, where there is an entertainer on stage who is being threatened by a demon-like creature who appears to be a lot like a bat. But where is Bruce Wayne? Is he at the opera? Of course not. He's too busy. He's being Batman. He's not even there. He's doing Batman things. So what is going on that's taking his attention is there's some sort of new thing going on in Gotham that seems to be turning certain villains into like powerful ancient zombie creatures. I know that sounds real vague, but we don't get the explanation for what they are in this issue. It seems Talia al Ghul knows something, though. Of course, she's not saying much. She never does. It's, to get any words out of her, Batman has to go on a huge chase, to get her to say anything at all, just like Talia. So Bruce is looking into that, but at the same time, when he gets home, there's something off about him. Is it just he's getting a little older, or is there something more sinister? So that's lurking behind the scenes. And back to the poetic stuff that Ram V is doing, there's just sort of poetry flowing through this, and in the dreaminess of the thoughts of Bruce Wayne that lead to a name we haven't heard in a little bit, Barbados.
Oh wow, bringing that back.
That seems to be getting brought back as well. So that's a lot of little seeds that look like they could grow into big things in this first issue. Then there's a backup story which follows Commissioner Gordon, who is now back in Gotham following the Joker.
Yeah.
And what is he up to? Of course, he gets embroiled in something right away. That's being done by a slightly different creative team. I think Cy Spurrier is writing that. So that's what's going on in Detective Comics 1062. Very different than what Tamaki was doing, different than the last team, but that's what you want.
Yeah.
Batman hasn't gone for 1,060 issues without us wanting the feel of it to change. And Ram V and Albuquerque have really changed the feel of it yet again. So I'm really happy. It just refreshes me to read it. I think Arkham Tower was a good way for Tamaki to go out, but this is a whole different direction. So the art by Albuquerque also just very it's very the dark traditional Gotham art. Good coloring though. I think the coloring to this is done real well. Adds a lot of emotion and feeling to the characters. So there we have it. We got a few variants I would like to show you. Here is the obligatory Lee Bermejo variant.
Even when it's bright, it's dark.
Here is the John H. Williams III Hanged Man tarot card variant. You know, it's tarot card, but still very operatic. Look at the curtains and all that. Then here's the 1 in 50 foil version of this. It is also virgin. Yeah, we're selling to Star customers for $50. And then there is this really cool 1 in 25 Inhyuk Lee variant for $25.
That kind of spells it out there tonally. The kind of Phantom of the Opera almost look to it.
Yeah, and I have to say, this is the opera guy on the stage at the beginning, which resembled, I think it was Arzen, our new character, if I'm not mistaken.
I'm excited about that. I really like Raphael Albuquerque. From reading all of American Vampire and all of that, he just has such an interesting look that you don't see super often. So next up is probably my favorite read of the week, because I just thought this was so much fun. This is DC Mech #1. So, I mean, it's not too much of a stretch to think, what is this about? It is very much like how Marvel has done their Marvel Tech-On, or it's your superheroes getting mech suits. But this one, I was actually very happy to see in the beginning. This starts right after World War II, and the Justice Society is celebrating, their victory, and how everything they've been through has kind of come to this, and it's all good until the city is attacked by a parademon. But this isn't your kind of, maybe 7-foot tall parademon. This is like King Kong parademon. And the Justice Society, during this big parade, goes up against it. But it costs them a lot. I'll say not everyone makes it out of that fight alive. And the Justice Society decide, we need to hang up our capes and put on our lab coats, because this was just a scouting party. We're guessing that a bigger invasion fleet is coming. We have to be ready for them. So you've got some of the smartest minds who are members of the Justice Society have now started developing these mech suits. So we jump forward in time, and it's not just the heroes that have the suits, it's also the villains. So we actually see the rogues, Flash's rogues, have their own suits, which is really cool. It doesn't really explain, like, how did they get the tech? It's just like, oh, if the heroes rose up with suits, the villains are going to find their own way. So you have characters like Heatwave, who are kind of like a little armored tank with like flamethrowers, and Captain Cold. And these are your kind of Gundam style, where they're, in the chests piloting them. So we see the robot mech suit of Flash take on the rogues. You kind of learn how his powers work and all of that. But all the while, Darkseid is planning his invasion. And it's going to take more than just Flash to stop him. Batman is monitoring from space, and he's going to come in too. You can kind of see the characters that are featured in this. But the other little thing that's going on is we get the story of Krypton and the destruction of Krypton, and baby Kal-El was sent to Earth not in a pod, but in a full mech suit. And so we don't exactly know when he landed. Was he raised by Mom and Pa Kent? It doesn't seem like it. It may have bigger ties to Lex Luthor. So pretty cool. I thought this was a surprisingly more. It's not just, oh, the superheroes, but they have mech suits. It actually has dynamic. It's more dynamic. It has kind of playing around with the timeline of the DC universe and kind of a divergent timeline around World War II and the JSA. So really cool. I suggest checking it out just because I thought it was a lot of fun. There's still kind of big stakes, but it was a fun Elseworld tale. This is going to be 6 issues long, so I can't wait to start seeing some of the other suits, and kind of the explanation. How did Wonder Woman get her suit in Themyscira? Did they develop by themselves or did they have help? I don't know. It's a really cool
They
idea.
grew on trees.
I was almost thinking it would be really cool if it was like a magic one made of like, dilapidated ruins and some kind of like magic force holding it together, because they all kind of represent them in fun ways. We also have this incredibly cool Dan Mora blueprint variant for Batman's Mech. And we have this. This is a 1 in 25 Lopez variant. You can see Superman facing off against Batman. It's the 1 in 25 variant that we are selling to our customers for $25.
All right, so next up, I read Robin issue 16, which I have enjoyed since the beginning. Can't believe we're 16 issues in. It seems like that Lazarus tournament, it was just starting. So, speaking of Lazarus, the island itself has not been forgotten. So, last issue, you had Lord Deathman, who is the teacher and trainer of Flatline, Robin's sort of crush. And he showed up on Lazarus Island claiming that his student Flatline had gone berserk and was trying to kill him. So that's where last issue left off. And in this issue, we pick up from there. Lazarus Island is becoming a new home for all the people from the tournament. Plus, just sort of wayward heroes start showing up. Like, it's turning into this base. I don't know where it's going to go. But, Robin, Connor Hawke, they're sort of the leaders of it. And Lord Deathman, you'll get to hear his story in this about what Flatline's been doing, why he's come to them for help, why she's gone berserk. Well, in this, Robin and Connor Hawke take a trip to Tokyo, where Flatline is, to try to find out what's going on. And they do. They find a lot of danger, but if you read this issue, they will find out what's going on. You will see Flatline. She's in this issue. Her and Robin's relationship does definitely come up. You will find out what she really is up to, and is Lord Deathman really the victim this time? Here's a guy, he's ancient, he can't die, but he's kind of a joke character as well. Nobody takes him very serious. And a lot of that comes into play. There's a lot of surprises. The most I could kind of do is tell you, here's where they go, and here are the major players, and you will learn this, you will learn that. If I tell you any more, it's ruining the fun of the surprises, which there are numerous ones throughout this issue, including the ending. So check out Robin number 16 if you've been enjoying it. It's just another good, awesome issue. And here is the Simone DeMeo variant for that.
Okay, next up for me, for all the fans of the Young Justice animated series, we have this tie-in book called Young Justice Targets number 1. Does it say? It just has limited series, so I don't know if they've said how many issues this is going to be. This takes place between 2 of the seasons. I believe the previous season and the upcoming season, so it's kind of a bridge between those two for Young Justice. And they're about 10 years into the storyline of Young Justice since the first season. We get a lot of fun interactions between Beast Boy and Stargirl and the whole team. This is written by Greg Weisman, who is the showrunner of Young Justice, also the showrunner for Gargoyles, which I think is super cool. But it's great to see because when you're reading this, it feels like you're watching an episode. So in it, there is kind of a woman who, I believe she was like a diplomat or something like that, and she has bodyguards. Well, those bodyguards happen to be some of our characters. One of them may even be Clayface, which I always love when he's having to pose as something else and kind of play the hero a little bit. Along with that, we get a backup story about Roy Harper versus Sportsmaster. And I always love seeing Sportsmaster in there. So if you're a fan of the animated series, I definitely think you'll want to pick this one up to bridge that gap, find out where all your favorite characters are in Young Justice Targets #1. We also have this variant cover. This is the Megan Hetrick variant with Roy Harper.
All right, another comic I was very happy to read today is Harley Quinn, issue number 17. So right here you see Harley and the verdict. It says the main event. They're in a boxing ring about to fight, just sort of squaring up against each other. And I would like to tell you that the whole showdown between them happens in a boxing ring, but that is not true. However, some of it does. It isn't just a cover.
Oh, good.
So some of it, in a way, happens in a boxing ring. You'll have to read to see what's going on. So last issue, the last couple issues, we learned the verdict's true identity, and we learned that she was someone a lot closer to Harley and Harley's best friend Kevin than either of them suspected. The previous issue, we learned the verdict's actual origin, which was a really good issue where you learn that, in her opinion, Harley did some really horrible things to her after she had learned that a lot of police and government officials were really corrupt, and this has turned her into an anti-hero. That's why she attacks villains, scoops out their eyeballs, but that's why she hates Harley above all else. So this issue, the verdict does her final sort of thing to try to take down the government and the police. Because as much as she hates Harley, she hates them even more. Well, Harley's going to show up. They're going to have their final battle, at least for this arc, and you're going to get to see where all the pieces fall. The only thing I will say is the verdict isn't necessarily done. Now, I'm not saying she'll be right back in Harley Quinn, but there is sort of a comic announcement towards the end where she might land. It looks like there's more for this character, possibly in another DC comic.
It's pretty cool.
Yep. I love being able to tell things like that. That's exciting, but it's like, good luck trying to figure it out. So that's what's going on in Harley Quinn number 17. And of course, it's not a Harley Quinn issue if we don't have a wonderful Derek Chew variant. Try to get that without the glare. Yeah, there we go.
I love the landscape
that
they let him do.
Harley and her hyenas. And then also, here's this 1 in 25 Lyrics variant that we're selling to our customers for $25.
Next up for me, this one is pretty interesting. So this is Aquaman number 6. And you can see it's called A Moment of Silence. So this is, I think, a very interesting thing to happen in the series because, of course, this book has been about not just Aquaman, but Jackson Hyde as Aquaman, Mara, Garth, like all of the Aqua family. But in this one, things are going along, progressing the storyline that we've been building with the kind of sleeper agents of Atlantis and possibly an attack that is going to come to Atlantis, but it all gets shaken up when it is announced over the news that the Justice League have been killed. So that is reflected through this issue where each of the members of kind of the Atlantean royal family and friends of the family learn that Aquaman has died, allegedly died. We kind of know the truth, but how that all plays out is very interesting and what their reactions to it are. Even Black Manta learns about it, and you see his reaction to when his greatest foe dying. Even though he's been kind of on the side of good, it still hits everybody pretty hard. So this is loosely a Dark Crisis tie-in. I would say, like, you know, you definitely don't have to read it, but I do like that the book is reflecting what's going on in the series. So you're not like, but he's alive over here. It kind of gives you an idea of how the timelines are lining up. So that is Aquaman number 6. And then we get this super cool Philip Tan variant.
All right, so I read, which one is it? This one. Batman Fortress issue number 3. So this has been a really awesome standalone What If series. This is not set in the regular DC universe at all. I don't know if we 100% knew that going in, but for sure we know it at this point. So basically, what's been happening is aliens have approached the Earth, disrupted all the electricity all around Earth, all the communications. Terrible, terrible problems. Last issue, Batman the Justice League went after them with jets and just got decimated. I mean, we're talking like members, not coming back. Mm-hmm. And Batman's one of the few that sort of got away. Meanwhile, Superman is missing. There are 3 aliens that seem to be the leaders that landed last time. And they're looking for Superman. They're looking for anything to do with the House of Kal-El. And in this issue, you see they are not happy with it. Like, they're turning everything to dust. Anything they can find that has to do with Superman, they're turning to dust. Even people who try to defend him. Somebody tries to defend him, and it comes to a sticky end in this issue. So what can Batman do against this power when Superman is missing? I mean, it clearly has something to do with Kryptonian stuff, and Superman is just gone. Mm-hmm. Well, he has to go to the most powerful man in this current world, which is Lex Luthor.
Oh, no.
He's the president. I mean, it says it right on the cover. That's not a spoiler. President Lex. So Batman has to try to convince him, has to swallow his pride and try to convince Lex Luthor that it might be a good idea for them to team up to possibly save the world. You got to read how that conversation goes. It's pretty good. Batman definitely threatens him more than once. So that's what's going on in Batman Fortress number 3. Just really cool to get away from the normal universe stuff and into just somebody's cool idea for a what if tale set in the DC universe with characters that we know. And here is the Suyin variant for that issue.
And next up for me, we have Deathstroke Inc. I keep want to say it's number 2. It's number 11, but this is Year One, Part 2. So since Deathstroke is he's busy over in Dark Crisis, being pretty messed up, his series we're going back and exploring kind of what made Deathstroke who he is and his first year of being that character. So he in the previous issue was a somewhat family man or whatever. When he was abducted and experimented on along with a bunch of other soldiers, and now he was given the opportunity at the end of the last issue to hunt down this doctor scientist that did all this, but it would mean kind of abandoning his family. So I will say, if you are worried that maybe they're trying to make Deathstroke a good guy, at least in this, he's a pretty horrible person. He even talks about, like, saying bye to his wife and kids. He's like, I should feel sad about this, but I don't. He's a very cold person, very unlikable in this, which I think works. He's a villain. So, also in this, you see the origin of his suit. It is addressed why there's orange on it, why he has a blue and orange suit when he's supposed to be, like, a stealth assassin. That's a pretty funny thing. I don't know if it's completely explained, but it is joked about why it's orange. This also has a pretty interesting ending when he is going on his big mission, that it might be interrupted by the first meeting of Deathstroke and a classic DC hero, who will be kind of their first of a many tussles they will have going into the future. So, and the character's in a very classic look, which I really liked. So that is Deathstroke Inc. number 11. It's almost hard to call it Inc. because it's like it doesn't have much to do with
where it started with the whole
this is kind of a different Deathstroke book and with a different writer, but really fun issue, very dark, but in that kind of you're reading about a villain type way. We also have a variant for it. This is the Matina variant. It's kind of hard to see on there, but it's the side of his mask.
All right, so one I just want to bring up because it is such an incredible variant this week. This is the Charlie Adler variant to Swamp Thing number 15. So, yeah, very, very cool. You know, I remember when this was up for order and we placed orders. But now that I have it in my hands, I think it looks better than ever. You may want to run to your store or call your store and say, grab me one of these, because I don't think that they are going to last. I think it looks great. Charlie Adler just knocked this out of the park. So, again, this is the Adler variant for Swamp Thing number 15. I kind of like just having him here.
It's the penultimate issue, too. There's only one issue of Swamp Thing left.
That's true. He is our new co-host for the rest of the show. And this is a reason we can't use the green screen. There'd be nothing here.
It'd just be
the eyes, yeah.
I like, it kind of looks like the Necronomicon from Evil Dead. That is even making it rectangle. Okay, a book we haven't talked about in a little while is Action Comics. This is Action Comics 1045. And we are... it seems like heading towards the end of the War World saga with Superman and Apollo and Midnighter and all of the authority that he went there with. I really commend them for, you know, when this was pitched, it must have been like, I've got a big, long story to tell, and it has been. So, really cool. And this issue ends with, I don't want to say it's a new character, but it's something on War World that I don't believe we've seen before, that basically confronts Superman and says, okay, if you're going to really be the hero that saves War World, I'm going to have to put you through a big test. So I thought that was a pretty interesting part of that. We know that Superman's coming back to the main DC Earth later on this year, where he's going to team up with Jonathan. But I think he's going to come back pretty changed from this event. So that is Action Comics 1045. And we are out of the variant. It's already been spoken for, so just the A cover.
Okay, so while Andy continues with the comics he has, I am out of the comics I should have. So we're gonna keep the show going. We're gonna talk about all the other comics that are coming out, so you still know, at least through our descriptions, what to look for on the shelves this week. Even though we didn't get a chance to read them in advance, curses. You guys don't understand the links we go to every Monday to get these comics, even in our shop, to be able to read them early. We'll do it next week. We will do anything we gotta do. We'll put out 10 signs next week since our one big one didn't work. All right, so I would like to mention this week, Something is Killing the Children. Number 25 is out, and it kills me I didn't get to read it yet. So I'm really looking forward to that. I have a suspicion somebody's gonna die. That's what I think. I think that, you know, the new character from the new house who is sent to kill Erica, I think she's going to figure out there's a mole in the house, and I think by the end of that issue she will have killed a major character. I don't know, haven't read it. Wish I could tell you that's what's going on in it, but still,
speculation corner.
I mean, how amazing that this comic, you know, when that issue 1 dropped, it didn't drop to any huge fanfare. I'm not saying the reviews weren't good, but who knew what a huge comic it would be. And now, this far in, it's in issue 25. It's as strong as ever. Whenever it's brought up in the same breath with, wow, if it hits TV, it might be another Walking Dead, on TV, because there's so much to it. In addition, House of Slaughter number 7 is out this week. So look for that. The spinoff from Something is Killing the Children. So even though I don't have them, they are still out this week. Look for them at your store.
I've got Sandman Universe Nightmare Country number 4. This is a very dark, twisted issue. I will say reading this felt almost like reading Red Room because of the subject matters in it. It explores a character who has been very influenced by an underground magazine to do pretty horrible things, and how that relates to the Corinthian. It's very, very dark, very scary, very unnerving, but I think it works really well for this book. So if you're enjoying that, get ready for probably one of the scariest and darkest issues of the series so far. And we also have this variant cover by Danny.
All right, another book that I would have read, but I'm going to tell you about so you know it comes out this week is Ant-Man #1 from Marvel. Ant-Man is getting a new book. Um, so I know there's been a lot of news from San Diego Comic-Con. I'll go ahead and pair that together. Some of you might not have heard, but Mojo is going to be in the Quantum Mania movie.
Mm-hmm.
So that's been confirmed, which is pretty cool. So I don't know what to tell you about the Ant-Man comic other than it is out as of this Wednesday. I guess I should also mention anyone who shops with us, we will have all our stuff tomorrow, and we will have it all on the shelf and out in time. So we go to great lengths to do that. I just couldn't read them, but anyhow, so new Ant-Man book. Look for that this Wednesday.
I think also interesting thing about the Ant-Man book is, and I don't think when we originally covered it on Comics from the Future, I don't know if it was out there that each issue is going to explore a different era of Ant-Man. So the first one is, I mean, looks very classic. It's Hank Pym. But we're going to get Irredeemable Ant-Man. We're going to get Scott Lang Ant-Man. If you see the covers, they all have the different one on there. And I think that's very interesting that they are trying to get people familiar with multiple versions.
The Ant Mythos.
Yes, the Ant Mythos. Next up, I have the final issue of Batman, One Dark Night. It's been one long dark night for Batman and for us, as he has been trying to transport this villain to Blackgate Penitentiary when all of the lights go out in Gotham and all the villains come out to play. So he has decided, which, I mean, he's Batman. I trust his decision making, but he thinks maybe it's better traveling by sewer than on the streets. The problem with that is he also has a villain that is primarily based in the sewer that he's going to run into. So it's a very fun issue to see how this finally plays out. It has a pretty epic cinematic end to it. There's a lot of explosions and bridge collapsings and everything that I did not see this series going to. But very fun and has a great Alfred moments in this one, I would say. So if you've enjoyed it, here is the final issue of One Dark Night.
And Jock getting to do his own story, too.
Yes. And a great Sienkiewicz variant where you see who he's going to be going up against in the sewer.
So another book to look out for this Wednesday out from Marvel is Genis-Vell Captain Marvel #1.
Yep.
It's all going to be about them looking for the old character Genis-Vell. And I know recently they're saying that Thanos is getting involved in it as well.
Mm-hmm. He's on the cover of #2.
Yep. So that is about all I know for that one right now. But just wanted to make sure that you do know that comes out this Wednesday as well.
One I'm very upset that I don't get to read this week is Amazing Spider-Man #6, which is also Amazing Spider-Man #900. So that's the big issue where we're going to get our first appearance of this new Sinister Six conglomerate where someone has taken all of the kind of DNA and powers of the, I think it's called like the Sinister Adaptoid or something like that, where they put it all together. So that's going to be, I think, a pretty cool first appearance in that. And hopefully it's going to explain some of the stuff that's been going on with Peter Parker since issue 1, and maybe even hint at what was the big thing that he apparently cannot be forgiven for.
I mean, issue 900 is a great time to go ahead and reveal what did he do that caused all this.
Yeah.
Is this even a regular real timeline?
Yes. I'll be very interested to see, but that's a big one that comes out this week that you will not want to miss.
I think, okay, so the kids that Mary Jane has, you know, are they like her kids for real, or could they be like, you know, she married into them or adopted them?
I think they've kind of alluded in the previous issue they're not biologically her kids. Maybe I think they're the kids of the man that she's in a relationship with.
Because I was going to say, because otherwise that throws the timeline.
Yeah, because they're older.
I know the birds and the bees. A little.
Yeah, and it's been, I think, a year later or something like that, not 6 years later. Okay. So I'll be very interested to see with that.
So another one that I wish I could read right now, and that I will when it gets here, is Venom #9. the next issue by either Ram V or Al Ewing or the both of them. Will this one be about Dylan Brock and the Venom symbiote trying to protect him? Or will it be about Eddie Brock out in his crazy King in Black space prison at the end of time? Either way, that's been a really good story, and look for the next issue, Venom number 9, out this Wednesday.
Another big one coming out this week is Gambit number 1. Chris Claremont's return to Gambit following Gambit and a young rogue. I know a lot of people are very excited about this. It's been a while since Gambit has had his own miniseries. You know, that was a very classic one before, so it's cool they're coming back to that. That's going to be big this week, so don't forget to check out Gambit number 1.
Yeah, it's been a bunch of years now, but I like Mr. and Mrs. X.
Yeah.
Where Gambit and Rogue had to pretend to go to marriage counseling because the island for like superheroes to get counseling, there was like something evil going on there. That was a really good little miniseries. So also out from Marvel this week is The Variants number 2. This is one where I really need to have it in front of me to show you, like for real, it's called The Variants. I'm not talking about a variant cover, although it does have variant covers. This is about Jessica Jones and other Jessica Jones from alternate realities coming together for a reason. That's what we were going to learn, hopefully, in issue number 2. So if that issue number 1 hooked you, make sure to check out The Variants number 2 out this Wednesday. I know a lot of people are excited because one of her variants was like a Jessica Jones Captain America variant. So.
Also coming out this week is Wild Cards, the drawing of the cards number 1. That is from the Wild Cards universe of George R.R. Martin. There's a bunch of short stories and novels and everything. I believe it's had comics in the past, but reintroducing those. So if you're a fan of him, it's not him technically writing, but it's the universe that he created. It'll be a cool new world of superheroes to explore if you haven't checked it out before. So
they did a comic series around that ages back. I forget what company did it. I don't think it was one of the major 3.
No, it was kind of an indie publisher.
But yeah, so they're trying it again, but you know, way later, and now with his newfound super success from Game of Thrones. Okay, also out from Marvel this week is Iron Cat number 2. Everybody knows I'm a big Jed McKay fan. I'm a big Black Cat fan, so I really want to read that one as well. Someone has stolen the Iron Cat Tony Stark armor. We learned who that was last issue. We learned why she wants to kill Felicia Hardy, and now Felicia's got to find a way to survive and to win. I bet Tony Stark's going to build her another outfit. In fact, it's been revealed on upcoming variant covers.
That's a good speculation since you've seen it.
Exactly. That's the best way to know. That's how people are so good at the stock markets.
Yeah.
But maybe in this one, it will be the first appearance of Felicia's new suit. I don't know. Iron Cat number 2 coming out this week as well.
Another interesting one coming out this week is Vampirella Year One. So Deathstroke and Vampirella are sharing the Year One spotlight, where we're going to find out, I guess, her early years on Draculon. I had just watched a really good long video from Comic Tropes on YouTube last night about what's the deal with Vampirella and the whole history of Vampirella and everything. It's very fascinating. It actually has some really great roots in some very famous comic creators that you would recognize. So I'll be interested to see how they reinterpret, kind of maybe modernize her origin. It's a very weird thing where she's an alien vampire and also Dracula is an alien vampire and all of that. So if you want to check it out, Vampirella Year One comes out tomorrow.
And yet another Marvel book, Captain America Symbol of Truth number 3. This is the one that follows Sam Wilson and Joaquin as his Falcon, where they're trying to figure out who is creating this off-brand super soldier serum and trying to get around the country. So the 3rd issue of Captain America Symbol of Truth also out this Wednesday.
As well as a few Star Wars books. Obi-Wan number 3 comes out. I'm very excited about that. It looks like we're going to be exploring some of the Clone Wars time frame now. We've worked our way to the Clone Wars. We see him with the clone armor on the cover and everything. So I'm excited to read that, as well as Dr. Aphra number 22 will be out as well.
Then there's also Strange number 4, following Clea, Doctor Strange's wife from another reality where she is Sorceress Supreme. She, of course, is taken over for Strange after he died. She's still trying to bring him back to life. So the 4th issue of Strange is also out this Wednesday.
As well as we've got a few independent books. We've got Image Anniversary number 4, continuing on with all of those fun creator-owned stories. I'm very excited. We're leading up to one of the ones coming up is Jimmy Palmiotti and Amanda Connor's The Pro, which, if you've never read it, is one of the just the grodiest superhero books, but they're going to be reintroducing that pretty soon. We've got Public Domain number 2 by Chip Zdarsky, kind of about the comic world and copyright and everything. It's a very interesting that he's tackling this at Image. And we also have Radiant Black number 16 will be coming out as well.
I think the last 2 I want to mention is Wolverine Patch number 4 comes out, the book by Larry Hama, set back in the days when Wolverine was calling himself Patch, had the eye patch. No one knew. It works for Clark Kent and other universes. It can work for Wolverine in the Marvel Universe. So Patch number 4 is out. And lastly, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles issue 131 is out. This is still leading into the whole Armageddon game with the Rat King and everything. I have to say, we have more people signed up to Turtles now than we have in all the years the shop's been open. That doesn't count Last Ronin, but Last Ronin really sort of lit that fuse.
And it was just announced that
kept it going.
Last Ronin is getting a follow-up series.
I heard that.
Yeah.
Yes. It's like Tales, like Lost Tales from Last Ronin.
So if you watch any of San Diego Comic-Con, it's amazing how big the Turtles are right now. One, they just had a super successful video game with that retro beat-em-up style. Shredder's Revenge is fantastic. They're putting out the relaunch that has all the arcade games in it. Plus, there's just announcement after announcement about new toys, everything. You have not... I mean, this is a new renaissance for the Ninja Turtles. I think this is a fantastic time to jump onto it, especially with this Armageddon game coming up. You don't want to miss being in the fun rapids of the Turtles right now.
I bet Vanilla Ice is begging them to let him write a new rap. Like, please, guys, I'll do this one for free.
Yeah.
And they're like, no, it's okay.
Yeah, we also have the new Netflix movie coming out from Seth Rogen that there was more news on, I believe, today or yesterday. So just get on Ninja Turtles. It's all good.
All right, well, that is our show for today. So, again, we apologize that we did not have the Marvel and the indie books to read. It was not by any effort of us. Our manager actually got in his vehicle and went to the next stop where the UPS guy was, and he was like, hey, it just came up on the screen that you tried to deliver, but you didn't. Where's our stuff? And he literally told him, your stuff's not in my vehicle. So that's why we had to get them on the phone to sort of go over the head. And they are bringing it back. It's supposed to be here by the time we close at 7, but that's going to be a little bit too late.
Yeah.
So just to let you know, we do everything we can to have this show come out on time with the info that you're used to. And next week, we will be back in the regular form, hopefully, unless he starts torching our books.
Let's hope not.
Yes, let's hope not. So thanks for joining us. And Megan is going to be on Whatnot selling comics tonight at 7 o'clock. So if you're somebody who watches and you buy comics, go join Megan on Whatnot at 7 o'clock. Otherwise, we'll be back on Friday with Comics from the Future. So thank you for joining us. And if you're on YouTube, hit that subscribe button.
Yes.
We will see you next time.